Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Dorra. I am 24 and I am an incoming PhD student in Berkeley. I am doing a molecular and cellular biology program. I've graduated from a master's in computer science and a bachelor's in biology both from Stanford University. I'm originally Tunisian, but I live in the United States as of now. And right now I want to talk about my experience with Tariqa Karkariya. And so it really first started with my family. So I had my brothers and my parents who were already part of the Tariqa. And so that naturally got me interested in it. I tried to understand a little bit more about what it's like, about what it's really all about. And so I kind of felt compelled to try it out by myself. At first it really started just out of curiosity because I was seeing my brothers especially, and I was, to be completely honest, seeing a lot of good changes in them, a lot of good habits that surfaced, a lot of bad habits that kind of gave way to the good ones. And I also saw my parents, specifically my dad, being extremely interested in the tariqa and kind of becoming a lot more involved in it. And so it really just started as a curiosity. As I started doing the wird, which is dhikr that you do right after Fajr prayer, and I started with my family doing it I've been doing it for about a year and a half almost now. And so I started doing it. To be completely honest, I was not very used to waking up for Fajr on time, and to be honest, doing the wird after the Fajr prayer kind of made me try to wake up like almost every day for Fajr on time. And so I think that really gave way to a lot of good habits that I did not have before. And so by time it started as a tabarruk, just for me to get more blessings out of dhikr and everything. I started doing this wird every night with my brothers, and honestly at first it was just something that gave me a lot of mental support. For me, doing dhikr is a way to get closer to my creator, and doing this dhikr gave me a lot of prosperity in life and a lot of patience to deal with a lot of things that were difficult. I mean, I am an international student in the United States, and that comes with a lot of difficulties, being away from home, being away from family, dealing with a completely new environment. And so I think that really helped with all of the stress that builds up from being in that type of environment. And I am a student in a very competitive university, so that adds, the academic stress really adds to everything. And I felt that from doing this dhikr, from really the simple act of just waking up early, of praying, and then kind of remembering my creator every night, it really gave me a really good habit and a really good place in life to be able to be thankful for what I had, to be able to really remember why I am here, and why I am studying this hard, and why I am really away from my family. And so it really started out as me just trying to get some blessing into my life, get maybe in shape, do a bit more good for myself. And so I've started to see a lot of good habits kind of become ingrained in me, that beginning with trying to pray on time with school and everything, it felt hard at some point, but now I'm really trying to pray all my prayers on time, wake up for Fajr, wake up a little bit before Fajr to do dhikr in the last third of the night. And so it's just really like my sharia becoming a bit better, praying on time, fasting in a meaningful way. I also started to try to fast Mondays and Thursdays, like the Sunnah says. And so it's just really trying to become a bit better, a better Muslim, a better practitioner of Islam. And so that's really how it started. And with it's been more than a year, and so like with the habit of doing this dhikr every day, feeling a lot better about myself, feeling a lot better about the stress that was building up in my life. And so just having this, let's say like 2 hours of my day really having this 2 hour of my day really being about myself and my creator, just having nobody else around, having no noise around, just remembering God and the beauty of God. And so that's really like how it came up to be. And so I started trying to be a bit more involved, learning a little more, kind of watching the lectures of Sidi Sheikh, learning a lot more about my religion than I already did. I didn't grow up particularly knowledgeable about my religion, and so I would say this really made me, I would say, take initiative to learn about my religion a little more. And it's honestly starting with the simplest of things, right? Like praying right, making wudu right, fasting meaningfully, kind of understanding why we fast, understanding what we should really do when fasting, what we should really remember, what type of values we should remember and stick to in doing our everyday life. And so I feel like I naturally got attracted to the tariqa and got attracted to the values it beholds. And so I would say I was very influenced by my surroundings, right? Like I was seeing really good changes in my family, my brothers, my mother, my father. And so I really felt that there was something attractive about this tariqa, something that really changes someone in a very deep and meaningful way, and definitely for the better. And so I wanted to be like them. I wanted to become a better person. I wanted to become a more straight Muslim and a better Muslim, I would say. And so, I tried my best. I've been kind of doing this all for more than a year now. And at a certain time in my life, and that was kind of actually last summer, I kind of came upon a bit of a difficult situation. So I got accepted into the master's to do the computer science last year, but I had a big issue of funding. At first I thought I had my funding figured out, but then there was some issues. And so I really graduated from my bachelor's knowing I really wanted to do this master's program and having been accepted, but kind of not really knowing if I was actually going to be doing it because of those financial problems. And so during that summer I was very, very stressed about the prospect of, first of all, not finding jobs because it was very late to do that. Second of all, having to go back home without kind of, getting this degree that I really, really wanted to get. And so it was almost soul crushing to come to the realization that I might have to give up on my dream in the span of almost a month. I finished in June, and it was only in May that I knew that I might not be able to do the program. And so it felt that all the hard work that I've been doing for my bachelor's for a good 4 years, and all the hard work before that to get into the program was kind of in vain. And so I just kind of started to question, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I putting all this effort into doing this thing that in the end I might not even be able to do? Even though I got accepted, I had everything planned out, but then, plans, sometimes they just don't work out. If God doesn't want it to work out that way, I was hoping it might work out another way, but I could not really figure it out. And then the only thing that I kind of could maybe grasp onto, the only hope that I could grasp onto is that God will find a way. In Tunisia, we have a saying that says when a door closes, a window opens. And so I was really, really hoping for that window to open very soon, before September, hopefully. And so I mean, it was really just hoping at that point that something might work out, that my previous funding might, work out somehow, if I could have another funding, if I could get, money on the side from doing side jobs or something. But it was quite, a hopeful, maybe wishful thinking at that point, because it was very late. And so in my wishful thinking, I just kind of started to email random, departments in my university, trying to maybe get a position to be able to at least partially fund my program. And really, it was just trying to keep myself busy while really, really hoping and praying very sincerely, with the help of God, with the help of, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Sidi Sheikh, just to get something, to get a window to open, maybe just even a tiny little bit window. And I got an email in the midst of all the stress, in the midst of thinking that I might have to go back. I was doing my wird, as I usually do with my brothers, and at that point I was just really, really hoping for something. I was doing it with an intention of finding a solution, with an intention of finding that window that might open up. I really felt a peace in my mind. It was that 30 minutes of peace, and at the end of them, something honestly incredible happened, something that didn't really happen before, before that period, is that at the very end of that session, maybe like really the last minute or minute and a half, I started seeing something, and I usually don't see anything. I mean, you're usually in a dark room and closing your eyes just to try to like focus as much as possible. And at the very, very end of it, when we were doing Alhamdu wa Shukr, which is at the very end of the wird, I was seeing circles, like circles of light that I had never seen before. Before it was like usually like kind of pitch black because I'm closing my eyes. And so usually it's pitch black because I'm closing my eyes, but really for about 60 seconds or 70 seconds or so, I started seeing like these luminescent circles that were kind of like closing down. It's as if you're going through a tunnel and like there's just lights that you're going through, and that's kind of like what I saw. And really, it was the first time. I was honestly impressed. I didn't even know what I was seeing. I just finished the wird, and my brother was like, how did it go? How are you doing? And I was like, oh, I saw circles, and that never happened before. And so it was honestly really like a moment of joy at that point. Like, it's as if something like woke up in me. And I was talking about peace earlier, about like really sleeping very, very well that night. It really like woke me up. I was, it's almost a state of like excitement, and then like really, really in the middle of the night, right? So it's a state of excitement that kind of woke me up, and I was like, I'm seeing these things, and like I was hearing a lot of people talk about it, like in the Tariqa previously, my brothers and other people on the internet that I was watching. And I was like, I'm seeing this, and like for the first time, and it was honestly great. And like the next morning, I kind of woke up. It was like a really good night, and I didn't really know what was going to happen. I was just kind of excited about like what was happening the night before. And so I just had my breakfast, and then I'm just doing some work on my computer, and like I get an email from a professor that I had previously, an email saying that they were interested in like interviewing me for a position, might I say, with like the possibility of funding my program. And it was very, very unexpected, because when I was reaching out to all the positions, it was almost like a last resort at that point, just hoping that anything would work out. And so I get this really good offer for an interview that I was not expecting at all, from someone that I had not seen for like almost 3 years at that point. And they had remembered me specifically. They even said in their email that when they saw the list of candidates, my name kind of jumped out to them. They had me in their class before, and so they said like, your name really jumped out. And I reached out to my colleague and told them that I would like to interview this student for this position, because I remember her, and like I think she would be very suitable for the position. And it's quite a competitive position, because it offers funding for students. And so really, for me to have come up amidst all the names that were there, like, was almost a miracle at that point. And so I go through the interview, and I hear really good news at the end of that summer that my candidacy was accepted. And so at that point, I was just relieved. Really, it was it was like those circles of light kind of just, you know, opened up a new world. It's like going through a tunnel that at the end of that tunnel there's just like a new world of hope and love, and like at that point really peace. And so at that point I only had, I mean, it was a great position, but it's only for one trimester of studies. And so even at that point, I was just extremely happy because I could at least fund part of my studies. But then really came the question of what's next. That's kind of like the thinking that I usually have, is like, what's next? What if this doesn't work out? This doesn't work out? And so at some point during that time when I was working with this professor, and I was like kind of keeping up with my word and everything, and had almost like another realization, like the same type that I had like earlier in the summer. And so really I was keeping up with my word, and for one of those nights I saw the circles again, like they happened again, and really at this time it was not at the end of my word. It was very like almost at the beginning, maybe like 5 minutes in, I start seeing these circles, and they're a lot brighter than before. They're a lot clearer than before. And it's like kind of going through a tunnel. That's like how the circles are like kind of closing in when you go in. And so like I felt joyed because I was seeing something incredible. And at that point, you know, I wasn't really thinking about like what it really means that I saw it once again, right? And so after that, maybe like a day or so passes by, and so I get an email from another professor saying that the professor that I was already working with recommended me for another position. And I really had not asked my professor, I had not told my professor that like I didn't know what I was doing next or anything. It was just like spontaneous from them, as if like, you know, someone told them to recommend me for that position because, you know, I needed it. And so it was very honestly like surprising to get this email. And even the next day I saw this professor in person, like honestly completely randomly, and they were like, oh, you're the person that, you know, the professor recommended, and so we'd really love to work with you. If you could, you know, send us like your resume. You don't even need an interview. We just want to see your resume, and we think you're probably very high up on the list of people that we will be taking. And so it really ended up working out for me. For funding wise and like working wise, it was a great experience as well. And so I was really just grateful for the experience, grateful for the opportunity to be able to do my program and also learn a lot in this job. And so I would say it's like this series of events where I see things during my dhikr that I don't usually see, right? And so right after that, like something, like it's as if it's like magical, like we would say. It's like something magically happens, and one of my like most stressful problems just gets solved, like out of nowhere. Like I didn't ask anyone, I didn't say anything. It's like something just happens. Like it's as if like something knows that, you know, there's this problem and it needs a solution. And so at that point, like I really felt that there was support, right? I felt that like there was someone behind me, there was like a force behind me that was really like pushing me towards like this direction that I really wanted to take. And so, I mean, I started to think about it rationally, right? The easiest way is to do it rationally. And so I was like, I see these things doing the dhikr from Sidi Sheikh. And then like all of these good things happen, like all of these problems that I really thought were impossible or almost impossible to solve just get solved in like a day or two. Like there had to be something, like the blessing that I was talking about earlier, like it's a real blessing. When I do this dhikr, good things happen, whether it's me personally in my life, like becoming a better Muslim, kind of sticking up with Muslim values, sticking up with, you know, good habits, or me in my life where like I have some problems and like they really get solved. And so I would say it's like really this like habit of doing the dhikr and then like having a lot of good things come my way. And then one of them being that like I got accepted into the program that I'm starting at Berkeley University. And so like it's not unthinkable, right, that like there's something behind all of these like good things that are happening. Like it's really a chain of like problems, and then problem solved, and then problem, and then problem solved. And like before all of these problems get solved, there's one thing that I have in common, and it's like seeing these like visions of light, but while doing the dhikr from Sidi Sheikh. And so I think like really at that point, it's like a matter of kind of coming to that realization that I'm talking about right now, right? Like what's behind all of this, or like maybe what's like the means behind all of this. And it's really that dhikr from Sidi Sheikh that's really bringing me peace, it's bringing me good habits in life, and it's bringing me like blessings and fortune in life. And so that really got me like a lot more involved in the tariqa. And so like I tried to kind of learn a little more, and like, you know, from my family, from like the internet and everything. And that got me into like maybe wanting to be officially involved, like we say. And so like getting the Baya, and the Baya is kind of like the official way that someone becomes a murid of Sidi Sheikh. And so I had wanted to get the Baya, and usually it's like you can do it remotely, but I would say maybe like it was preferred for me, or maybe it's just like kind of written for me that I had to do it in person. And so I usually don't have like the opportunity to visit Morocco or even visit Tunisia for a long period of time, because I usually have like work in the summers or internships or something like that. But honestly and thankfully, like when I really wanted to do this, and when I felt like this was a good time to do it, I so happened to have a free summer. I usually don't, and so like it was an opportunity for me to, you know, rest, just like, you know, take a step back before starting a new program. And I found myself with a lot of time on my hands, and I took the opportunity to come to Morocco and like maybe learn about the tariqa from the tariqa itself, right? Not from the people outside of it, but like at the place where it started, with the people that are practicing it every day, just like to get immersed in it. It's maybe like I would say like just to like understand something while being inside that something, right? So it made sense to me to come and learn more like while living it, right, in the zawiya in Morocco. And so I come to Morocco just to like kind of learn how murids live, what's the zawiya like, what is a zawiya even. And so like just kind of like the daily life of like a murid from the Tariqa Karkariya that's living in the zawiya. And so I come, and to be honest, like welcomed, obviously, like you have to kind of I come and I feel welcomed. It's like as if I'm going to my family that's in another country that I never go to. And so I came. At first I was able to meet Sidi Sheikh, just, you know, to say salam, to say that I'm here, that I have arrived safely. And it was honestly such a humble meeting. It's really like you're meeting someone that you've always heard about, someone that you really respect and admire, and that you've always heard about, and now they're in person. And it was really such a humbling meeting. Sidi Sheikh was extremely courteous, and I was with my brother. And so when you come to the zawiya, you know, tell Sidi Sheikh the reason why you're coming. And so I said, I came with the intention of getting the Baya, if at all possible. And so Sidi Sheikh says, you know, inshallah, there will be, you know, good things in the next days. And so I just kind of go with my life. I go into the zawiya and I kind of unpack my stuff. And first thing I see is a faqira that has been in the zawiya for like almost 8 years now. And she really welcomes me with open arms. Like she sits down with me, she asks how my journey was, and like it's really like you're going back home, right? Like I've never been here and I've never seen like almost any of these people before, and it's like everyone is very welcoming and everyone is very happy to see you, and everyone really wants to like learn from you and learn with you and like teach you what they know about the tariqa. And it's like really humble, right? Everyone is just like has like kindness to offer, and everyone just like wants to offer what they know. and wants to know from you, like however little thing it is. And so I go, and like it's honestly great. I just unpack and I go straight to the masjid. There's a small masjid for women in the level that I live in. And so I just go to the masjid and I stay there and just like open up like my subha and just like start doing istighfar. And so at that point it was almost dhuhr time. And so like I hear the call to prayer, and like everyone just comes down. And it was actually like the night of Ashura. And so it was like the 9th of the month of Muharram. And so there was a lot more people than I thought there would be. So there's a lot more people. So everyone just comes down to pray dhuhr. And so people are just coming in, and I'm just saying salam, obviously, and like just, you know, getting up to pray with everyone else. And so at the end of prayer, people don't just get up and leave. People pray like, you know, 2 rak'ahs of sunnah or nafla. People just take up a Quran and just sit and like read, like recite a little. People just take their tasbih and do istighfar. And while other people are just like upstairs, maybe just like helping with, you know, house chores. And this is really just like living in a communal house, right? Everyone is living and everyone is like helping each other, cleaning, making food, etc. And there's really a lot of people. It's like it's the type of environment that might be hard for some people to live in, because you're in a new place with new people and a lot of people to add to that. And so it can like, you can think that it might get really, really chaotic, but surprisingly not. Everyone is courteous, everyone is doing their part and maybe a little more than their part, and everybody is like welcoming. And if you don't know, you feel at peace to ask if you don't know, right? I don't know where to do this, I don't know how to do this, I don't know when to do this. And so everyone is there to answer the questions. You don't feel intimidated because you don't know and because you're new. You actually feel very welcome to ask questions, and everyone is very happy to answer these questions. And so it's like I've been living here for like almost 20 days now, and really it's great. Like I never imagined how it could be, but it's a lot better than anything that I imagined. At first I thought it might be really hard, right? Like I explained, it's a new environment, new people. I didn't know anything about living here, but I can say this now, it's a lot better than I thought it would ever be. And like I love the fact that people like come down to prayer, everyone prays together, everyone like is at the masjid reading Quran, everyone is doing the like istighfar. There's always someone who is inspiring you to do something good. There's always someone who's reading the Quran, and so you feel inspired to read as well. There's always someone who's praying sunnah, and so you feel inspired to do the same. There's always someone with a subha in hand, and they're always like doing istighfar or doing tasbih, and so you feel compelled to do the same. Like there's always someone to remind you to do better. There's always someone to remind you to do like a good deed. You know, however little it is and however big it is. And it's honestly great to be immersed in such an environment. It's a big change from my life in the United States, where it's just waking up, you know, going to school or going to work and then eating and then coming back. And it's that routine that like sometimes breaks you a little bit and sometimes gets you to forget the important things in life. But being here and being immersed in an environment where like everyone is a reminder that you can be better, and that, you know, there's always something to learn, there's always something to look forward to in your religion, really honestly is insane, right? And like I said, I came on the 9th of Muharram, and the next day was 10th of Muharram, which we call Ashura. And so it's a day where a lot of people come to the zawiya. Like even people who don't usually live here, like they come from far. It's a night, or it's 2 nights of remembrance of God. It's 2 nights of kind of trying to be much closer to God than we already are. And it was incredible. Like that night we did the istighfar almost the entire night, and then we prayed Fajr. And then everyone at the zawiya was fasting on the 10th of Ashura, on the 10th of Muharram. And so everyone wakes up, Even though we're fasting, right, we wake up early, we do chores around the zawiya, and then kind of like sit down, read Quran or do something like that. And then at like Asr time, we do a lot of dhikr up until like Maghrib comes, and then that's when we break our fast. And so we all break our fast together, and it's a very joyous moment, like with like almost like 50 women. So we're all eating together, we're all talking, we're all like learning about each other. And it's honestly a great experience just to get to know people, get to know the people that you live with, and the people that like also aspire to be better in this tariqa. And so it was great. Like it was 2 nights, almost like 2 full nights of dhikr, 2 full nights of remembrance of God, 2 full nights of like unity, and 2 nights of you know, trying to understand and be better and become better Muslims. And so after that, like as I already said, I came with the intention of getting the Baya. And so I come down, and something that like I was told that like you don't necessarily ask for the Baya. It's like you get asked to do it. It's kind of like, it's like your time comes. And so I came down to Sidi Sheikh with my brothers accompanying me. And so I had something to ask Sidi Sheikh, just like for advice. And so really it was almost unexpected that like after some discussion, Sidi Sheikh just tells me, you know, to kind of sit facing the Qibla. And so, you know, I just do as I was told. And so there's like in front of me the word Allah. And so he asked me to look at it and to like really kind of focus on the word. And then like he hands me his tasbih. And so like very, very courteously, obviously, like without touching or anything. And then my brothers were like right next to me. And so then he even asked one of my brothers to just kind of like get away from like the word Allah, so that like I have like a very clear view of it. And so I hold that tasbih, and Sayyid Sheikh just asked me to like say istighfar, like just astaghfirullah, 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 while kind of like closing my eyes and like really remembering that word. And so Sayyid Sheikh kind of like starts to say these like Quranic ayahs and do dua and everything, and while I'm just like saying astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, and trying to like focus while closing my eyes. And so at some point Sayyid Sheikh like asked me like, do you see anything? Is there like something that's popping up? And at first I'm just like really trying to focus, but then I'm saying like I'm trying to focus so much that like my eyes are like closed way too shut, and so I like really I'm having like almost like a dizziness at that point, but then I just kind of relax. It's almost like out of nowhere that I just kind of like relax, and at some point I just try to see like this little like cloud-ish form. It's like grayish, like it stands out from like the darkness around it. And so I say I'm seeing this like cloudy form in front of me, but I'm like it's almost like a little like faint, but like I'm seeing this. And so Sayyid Sheikh just asked me to like kind of try to focus and like kind of go into it, like into the heart of this cloud. And so I try my best to like kind of like, you know, go into the heart of the cloud. And that's when I see like a faint star, like a star shape, it's like a circle, it's like a glowing a little, but like I see something. And that was the first time I see that. Like I usually, like I said before, I see like these like luminescent circles, but like, this is the first time I see this like cloudy form, and then like I kind of like go through it and focus on it and like see this like starry like luminescent figure. And so that's almost it, right? Then Sidi Sheikh just like, you know, tells me to, whenever I do dhikr, whenever I do like istighfar, to try to like really focus on that form and like always try to go into the heart of it, and like in order to like focus on that light, so that it becomes, you know, bigger and brighter with time. And so that's it honestly like happened almost like unexpectedly. that like I just, I look in the direction of the Qibla, I look at the word Allah, and I just start doing it. And so that's when I understood. I was like, oh, I think I did Baya just now. I didn't even know I would do it today. And so I just, give back tasbih to Sayyid al-Sheikh, and I'm just like completely like out of it almost. And so like I get to ask what I was going to ask Sayyid al-Sheikh before, but like it's a very like hazy moment of realization that I did this great thing that I really wanted to do, versus being in the moment and like really trying to kind of like just like understand what's going on around me. And so I just like that ended, and so I just go back up to like the level where the women live, and so I'm just there the whole day, not necessarily realizing what just happened. It like really took me time to understand and realize that like it happened, I did it, and I'm excited to get to know what's next for me. And so like that really happened like almost a few days ago, and it's been great. It was great before then, and it's even greater now. I'm getting to know like the Tariqa a lot more deeply. I'm getting to focus on the lectures of Sayyid al-Sheikh. I'm understanding things a lot better than I used to. I did have like a bit of an issue just like trying to like understand all the terms and everything, but honestly everyone around me is so ready to just like answer questions and like kind of guide me towards the right direction and guide me towards to like the right thing to read or the right thing to like kind of look for. And it's just inspiring to be surrounded by people who always like really are reminders of the creation of God. They're reminders that you should pray, and like that there's like these sunnahs that can be done, that even if you don't have anything else to do, you don't really have to like get your phone and like just scroll through like social media or something. You could just take your tasbih, do some istighfar, anything. There's like you can read the Quran a little today. There's a lot of like always things to do, and there's always people who are doing these things, and so you just feel inspired to do them as well. It's just a constant reminder that like there's these things, these like really honestly like things that take up almost no time and no effort that you can do to get closer to God. And then people wake up for the third, or even like before the last third of the night, to do dhikr every night. And like almost that at first that's a little hard for me to like wake up and be focused, but alhamdulillah with time, like after almost 20 days, it becomes a lot better. It becomes a lot easier to like wake up, do my wudu, and then like kind of go to the masjid with everyone else and like start to like do dhikr all night until Fajr prayer comes. And then we do the word all together, and then like we read some Quran, and then we kind of just go about our lives. I think it's a great experience to be here and to like be able to experience all of this. Like you always hear about like people like doing dhikr and people praying a lot and people reading the Quran a lot, but like it's not really the same as living it and like as seeing people doing it every day, and that's like almost like their job in life is to remember God, right? And I feel like that is our job, to like remember God, to understand God, to be closer to God. And that's honestly the message that I got out of the tariq and out of being here and living in the zawiya, is we should remember God, and we should love God, and we should get closer to God and understand God, like, and to know God. I think that's like it sounds simple to say we know God, but it's really hard. Like it's not as simple as it sounds. It's like there's a lot behind, there's a lot we don't know. And I think that's like the message that I got, that like I really need to know God more, to know about my creator more, to love my creator, and not just say that I do, but like actually mean it and sincerely like try to do the deeds to get me to that level. And so that was my experience with the Tariqa Karkariya, and I hope it inspires people. Thank you.